Hmm. Okay, guys, welcome to the Yank and Kiwi podcast, and we're doing a cold open because Soundboard decided to be a bitch and not work for me right now. So, but yeah. How you guys doing? I'm doing great, and as always, I am your host, Brett, the handsome and charismatic one, and still filling in for Sam.
I'm Deantay. I just turn up every week as always.
Thought we were going with You're the Hostage.
Yeah, well, when Saint comes back, I'll feel more like a hostage.
And joining with us is the creator of your new favorite self-published comic book, Blue Mamba. Jim, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so this is actually this is actually going to be an interesting episode this week because because I was talking with Deantay about let's go over talking about we've covered comics on this podcast a couple times, but I really want to get in touch with the independent creators, and some I happen to know. Like there's a couple guys like Matt Trin and Cody Fernandez, one of the latter who's working on Jack Irons the Steel Cowboy. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good. Yeah, they're good guys. I'm planning.
Absolutely.
I'm planning on getting them on board at some point. But yeah, Jim, how about you just take over for a bit and tell people about who you are and what Blue Mamba's all about.
Oh goodness, about me. I'm a Navy vet. I have a day job in IT.
Navy vet, what rank?
Yeah. I got out when I was an E6.
Petty officer.
Yeah, first class. Yep.
My uncle got out of the Marine Corps, or an E4.
Okay. Yeah. I train dogs in my spare time, and I came up with Blue Mamba last summer. I started to see this wave of independent creators making comics, putting them out in crowdfunding, and I thought, I wonder if I could come up with something, and the idea came into my head of can I make a comic that both the ideological left and the ideological right enjoyed and hated at the same time, and couldn't figure out exactly why they liked it and hated it. So with that in mind, I was like, okay, well, how can we do this? How can I give the ideological left something that they can't bitch about in a comic book? Well, a lesbian couple. Can't bitch about a lesbian couple. They're well established in the oppression hierarchy, I guess. And what can I give the ideological right something that they will enjoy and they can't bitch about? Well, taking out SJWs. So I created a spy thriller story about a lesbian who's a former Marine, got through the Marine Corps, learning all of her training through this special program to put women into combat, and just as she was about ready to finish, they yanked the program funding and decided to kick everybody out, and so she left the Marine Corps. And she's recruited by this kind of smooth-talking politician type to do cleanup work, do wet work for him. And we pick up her story at the beginning of when she started to get assignments to take out these radicalized community leaders, people who supported or support, ideologically left causes, but have decided that peaceful protests and marches and op-eds just aren't doing it anymore. So they decided to take it to the next level, get a little bit out of control. And her job is to go and take care of these people, get them out of the way. Because dark, shadowy figures in the political sphere want to control the narrative. And what better way to control the narrative than to control both the left and the right?
Oh,
and she's a tool of this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of I'm kind of sold on that premise.
Same here, definitely.
Yeah, you still got the Indiegogo live, right?
It's on Kickstarter, and yeah, it's still live.
Yeah.
We've got 9 days. This ends on the morning of August 9th, so yeah, 9 days.
So, like, how much money have you managed to pick up so far?
We are almost 50%. Let me pull it up really quick. We have right now $3,764 with 105 backers, with a funding goal of $8,000 to get the book made for everybody, and that $8,000 pays for printing, shipping. We've got 2 different versions of the book. We've got a PG-13 version and an adult version. So I'm actually going to end up doing 2 separate print runs, as opposed to other books out there that are just doing 1. So that $8,000 pays for printing, pays for shipping, and maybe pays back a little bit of what I put into this to get it made. And I'm about $12,000 to $15,000 into this comic book right now. So even with the $8,000 goal to get it printed and shipped and stuff, still doesn't even touch the investment I've got into it, which is fine. I went into this knowing that, so that's no big deal.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like a friend of mine who's also published his own book. He told me that when you're a comic book creator, you're pretty much a lifelong gambler.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You were also the second person I've had on this podcast who's making a comic book about a former veteran. The first one being Brian Ball from Rags.
For Clarissa in Blue Mamba, it fits the character to have her be a former vet, or to be a veteran, because it just where does she get her training otherwise? She's not a Black Widow character where she was plucked out as a child and sent off to a special school. So I had to give her training somewhere.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, good point. I mean, that's a good point. And although Rags seems to be Rags is tackling that same sort of character in a different manner, whereas it seems to be more about exploring PTSD.
Right, I was going to say Regina's character explores the perils of being a combat veteran more than I do. Clarissa actually never ended up in combat. She spent years in schools training to do this particular job for the Marine Corps. And then they yanked the rug right out from under her, and everybody else was in the program. So she may have gone on, little onesie-twosie missions here, but she was never, she never went to Iraq or Afghanistan, anything like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a, but yeah, I mean, like that's a. Still, though, I mean, like the premise alone, it's just that is actually really good. I mean, like especially considering that. I mean, you're dealing with you said radicalized community leaders. Are we talking like? We're not talking. Just so I know, we can kind of clear the air on this. Is it can you say one way or another whether there will be a Richard Spencer analog?
Not yet. I've got the first 6 issues planned out, and the first 6 issues have to deal with radical leaders more to the ideological left side of the world.
So we're talking more from the Antifa camp.
Yes, yeah, the Antifa camp, Linda Sarsour types. Get into a little bit of why would the Russian mafia be interested in social justice?
Yeah, the only reason I asked that is just because you said like it's about controlling both the right and the left, and well, if she's taking out people from the radical left, she's also probably gonna have to go people from who are probably on like in the alt-right at some point too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to like paint you into paint you in a corner or anything. Just like that was just something that just occurred to me when you brought that up.
Oh yeah. No, we will get there eventually. The storyline kind of goes down. I don't want to give too much of the overarching story away.
Oh, please don't.
In the second 6 issues, the second series, we'll get into more of the bigger political picture and how much this affects Clarissa and her relationship with Echo, and why Clarissa does what she does.
Mm-hmm. You know, I guess if you don't mind me asking, like, if you had to sum up Clarissa's character, how would you?
I had to sum up her character.
Yeah.
Like I've said, former Marine, got all of her skill training while she was in the Marine Corps. Realized that she had a natural ability for it. It's from the moment she got in the Marine Corps, she knew that what she wanted to do was get into combat, take out the enemy. And she became very good at killing people. Very creative, very resourceful. And when she got out, she ended up kind of lost in a way. And when this senator, this political guy, picked her out of the crowd, he basically said, "Look, I've been watching you since you started this program in the Marine Corps. There's a reason why it was started, and I want you to work for me. You've got a natural ability for it." And as she started that job, she realized that she liked this. This wasn't just, oh well, I can do this because I'm good at it. No, this is her doing what she enjoys. And then she's got her home life. With her wife Echo, that she works very hard to maintain. She works very hard to make sure that Echo doesn't know what she does, and tries. They don't put, neither Echo nor Clarissa put much effort into having a marriage any different than any other couple would. And I wrote that very specifically that way. I didn't want the marriage between the couple to be a focus. I wanted it. I didn't want them to be that typical SJW lesbian couple that runs around saying, "Hey, we're married, and if you don't like it, fuck you." They work on their relationship, and they don't go around advertising that they're this lesbian couple that is out to make the world like them or else.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to approach that situation as well. Yeah.
So
Yeah, you know, and I've already had people comment saying, well, you can't put something like that into a comic book without it having being an announcement to the world or a proclamation that gay marriage is okay. And it's like, wait, hold on. I think it is okay. And most people don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It's,
yeah, I saw on Twitter earlier that you were tweeting about like how Blue Mamba got called fan service.
Oh yeah. So this is exposing my age a little bit. Actually, in the fact that I really think manga is trash.
Deantay and I, we know what this means.
I think my last tweet on that was, wow, it makes me really giggle when I go back and read stories about Star Wars and people talking about fan service. Because my first exposure to the word fan service is in movies, where fan service means, oh, we put this character in, or we put this scene in because we know the fans of the franchise want it. As to where manga and anime fan service is, oh, I put this sexy character in here, I put this sex scene in here because it's going to make the fans happy.
Yup, put in some TNA.
Yeah, and so now, like I said, now whenever I go back and I see the word fan service in relation to Star Wars, I just giggle.
Yeah. That was. You know, I'm just gonna say. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little cheesecake. I mean, considering that we're seeing Marvel like portray its female heroes like as looking very unfeminine. In fact, this is like seeing a female character that actually looks like a woman. I can't believe we've actually gotten to the point where that's now being considered refreshing.
Yeah. And women are women. I mean, granted, women come in all shapes and sizes, but there is an ideal, and it's biologically programmed into everybody. And if you want to deny that, fine, deny it. Great, wonderful, whatever. But for the rest of the population, it's hardwired. There is an ideal shape, an ideal appearance, regardless of minor physical differences. So, I look at my characters and say, well, you know, actually, Clarissa wouldn't even be my type. Echo is more my type, the supporting character in my book.
Interesting.
very.
Yeah, I mean, like, still though, I mean, like, I guess, if I, how did you, I guess if I could ask anything else, I mean, like, how's the whole experience been? Just building this whole brand up.
Tiring at times. The biggest thing I had to learn, coming from a military background, this is the hardest thing, is artists, most artists, not all of them, most artists I've dealt with look at deadlines as a suggestion.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I'm not knocking them for it. I mean, once you learn that that's just how they see things, then great, you can work around that. But you know, coming from a military background, you know, if I say I want something done by close of business Thursday, holy crap, it's done by Thursday morning. You know, and so that was my biggest frustration in the beginning was learning to work with artists, and understanding that I can give them a deadline and I really have to be flexible with it, but at the same time I have to stay on top of them all the time.
Yeah, artists, they work on their own timetable.
which is fine. It's creation, and and I get that, and that's okay. And so I plan for it, and I allow for slipping deadlines in my schedule. The interior pages, though, took a lot longer than I originally expected. If that was the biggest learning curve with artisan deadlines. I originally had this planned to come out in February, early March, but the interior pages weren't even close to being done at that point. Damn. So timelines got pushed out. So
I mean, yeah. If there's any upside to this, it does still seem like there's still plenty of momentum behind this whole self-published creator-owned comic book movement. I mean, like, it does not seem like it's running out of steam anytime soon at the moment.
Well, I'm surprised that this self-publishing stuff has been going on probably longer than most people realize. Probably for the last, 6 or 7 years. When did Kickstarter get going?
I'm looking it up right now. Kickstarter they've been in business since 2009. It's almost 10 years.
Yeah, so you look at that and say, okay, well, this self-funding or self-publishing in comics has probably been going on for nearly that amount of time. Yeah. And on top of that, you have people that don't even bother with the Kickstarter Indiegogo model, and they create their book, they print it, and they only do conventions. I've got a stack of comic books sitting on the other side of the room from me here that I have found only at conventions.
Really?
So yeah, so it's interesting to see even that level of self-publishing is out there. And so this latest wave of self-publishing, with Ethan and Zach and Mike and Mitch and everyone else that's come along in the past few months. This is new for them, but the actual process of self-publishing comic books has been around for a lot longer than that.
Well, yeah, that I would give you. It's just more like it's just only now recently, like since Comicsgate took off and Diversity in Comics went and announced Jawbreakers, and Ethan Van Sciver went out and put out Cyberfrog. It's like now there's like way more momentum behind it.
Right.
I mean, like I saw, like Cody actually, I think his Indiegogo for issue 2 of Jack Irons actually met its goal and then some.
Yep. Yeah. And it's been interesting to see these books get the support that they do. It's whether people will admit to it or not, there are direct influencers in this group. And the people say, "Oh no, I'm not really an influencer." No. But one word from some of these people will make or break an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter. Just will. Oh, yeah. I mean, and Jack Irons is a good example of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although I mean, you said you had to put like $8,000 on down from Blue Mamba. Jack Irons, I think, was like asking for like considerably less. Like I think like half of that.
Well, they were, and originally the Jack Irons wasn't going to be colored, and they weren't going to do print to start. I think if I read their campaign correctly, I remember I remember color was a stretch goal, and I don't think that print issues were part of the original offering. That didn't come until after they started making more money.
Yeah, let me pull that up and see what I can. Let me pull all that up and see what they put on their Indiegogo for stretch goals. Oh, actually, as of now, they're sitting on $7,500.
Right.
Okay, so that's actually it. Okay, so yeah, like
yeah. So here,
yeah,
now both issues will be delivered in color. All perks 25 and over now include a printed copy of issue 1 as well as a printed copy of issue 2, thanks to Wicked Publishing. So reading that tells me that this wasn't originally supposed to be print.
Yeah, and it also says like they have a new stretch goal. Every $250 goes towards hiring indie artists to collaborate on pinup inserts for issue 2.
Right.
And they've got at least 5 of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and if you look at their reward tiers, they only include PDFs for the tiers that they were offering. And for Blue Mamba, this was always intended to be a print book, and always was intended to be color. And print costs money, and I did that more.
It does.
Out of my personal preference, I guess. I prefer having a comic book in my hands. I feel like if somebody's going to pay me money for something, or if I'm going to pay money for something, then I want to feel it. I want to smell the paper. I want to flip the page.
Yeah, I think Stan Lee has a quote for that. Comics
yes,
are
he
like
does.
Yeah, comics are like boobs. Great to look at, but you want to feel them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as soon as you've seen one set of boobs, you want to see more.
Yeah, that is
so
true.
So yeah, so comparing Blue Mamba to Jack Irons for as far as funding goes, we're different. We have different funding goals. You know, if I were doing digital only, then yeah, absolutely, my funding goal could have been a lot less. And it would have been 100% profit at that point. Well, 100% back to me to pay off what I've already invested.
Yeah, you continue, Jim. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, but then at that point, I wouldn't be able to put these fabulous covers into people's hands. I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to offer people signed and graded comics for them to collect.
That's Brian was going on and on about over on Twitter about how he just basically cleaned house at the Antarctic Press booth at Comic-Con this year. And which is amazing for him. Good on him. He deserved that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, having the PDFs is cool and all. And it does cut out a lot of the overhead, but you're right. You do kind of want to be able to hold that in your hands.
I mean, I honestly, if I go to see an independent crowdfunding thing and there's not a physical option, I'm a lot less likely to buy it.
Yeah,
because I collect comic books. I don't collect digital files. I don't.
Nobody does, honestly.
First, I don't like reading things on a computer screen. The only comic series that I read on digital is Injustice 2, and that's because there's so fucking many of them that I don't want to have all that paper around. But for comics I want to collect, for comics I want to keep, I want paper in my hands. So I won't. So when it comes to independent stuff, I am a lot less likely to buy something that is digital only.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, going back to the money you've sunk into this already, and believe me, I actually kind of see where you're coming from, because I'm actually working on publishing my own book, and right now I've got an artist I'm looking to collab with, but The thing is, I want to at least but I'm kind of sinking $800 into this just to put out an 8-page short story to see if people really are gonna dig it, and if it does catch on, then I can actually move into then I plan on moving into the actual crowdfunding.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I totally see the gambler part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't have done this if I couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I didn't. It's not going to bankrupt me if this doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. But I'm a lot less likely to put out issue 2 and issue 3 and issue 4. And one of the things I hate about independent comics is having to wait like a year to get the next issue.
Oh yeah, there was a guy who put out a video on that. You know Professor Geek?
No.
I will link you that video later, but he
Yeah, sure. I think I've heard of it.
But yeah, I think I just want to make sure I can pull it up first. I think it's one of his more recent videos. He's got quite a few out right now. But he was talking about how, oh, here it is, the crowdfunded comics. I'll just send you the link over Twitter. He was talking about like how that if these crowdfunded comics, they are going to compete with the big two, what they need to be able to come out more regularly.
Yeah, and my goal with this was, if Blue Mamba #1 took off in crowdfunding and we were able to make $20,000, okay, that would pay for issue 2. Literally, that would pay for issue 2, and I would have issue 2 out in a few months, as opposed to next year. I've got the scripts written all the way through issue 12 at this point. So scripting is fine. All I have to worry about is art. And as long as I can manage my artists and get everything done on time with them, then that's how fast it can come out. So Blue Mamba is an ongoing series ready to be published on a regular schedule if the money's there. If I can support publishing it financially. That's all there is to it.
So, do you feel like do you honestly feel like you can pull this off? I mean, like you've only got like 9 days left on the campaign, and you're just a little shy of having half of the funding.
I don't know. I've seen stranger things happen in the last days of a crowdfunding campaign. But if it doesn't happen, I pull back. I reassess what my possibilities are for publishing, and see if I can try it again in a different approach. The advantage here is if this doesn't make it, and I have to reevaluate how to publish this and relaunch a crowdfunding campaign. Out of the 105 backers I've got so far, it's easy to say that probably 80 of them will fund on the first day to 2 days, and that would push the Blue Mamba comic campaign onto the trending page for Kickstarter. And for Kickstarter, that's where you tend to get noticed. You start getting recommended a lot more to other people who are backing other projects.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Deantay, look who showed up in the chat. It's Kurt.
Yeah, I just saw.
And he's talking that we got a bit of an echo, which is, I'm sorry about that, guys. I've been trying to put in like let me see if this works. Okay. Is that cut? Okay. Is that okay, guys? I put in some earbuds into my PC. Let's see if that cuts down on the sound.
Hopefully it does.
It does not, and that's...
Nope. I heard myself that time.
Yeah, I know why. It's because, it's this TV I'm using as a monitor.
Ah.
It was the only thing I had laying around it. It was convenient to use. Let's see if I can... Let's turn down the volume. Maybe that'll at least cut down... that'll at least cut down the echo. Alright, but yeah, I mean, like, so far, like, you said it's been harrowing, it's been a bit rough, like, but from what I've also seen, like, the community's been very supportive of these creator-owned projects.
Oh, certainly.
Like, that is something we've definitely got, going, at least, that we have people, like, we have a very supportive community behind us.
Yeah, and there are tens of thousands of people out there that are looking at these creator-owned projects that are going through crowdfunding right now, that are getting pushed and promoted by these the current influencers that we have on the Comicsgate side, and we see that happen. Like I said earlier, if you get a nudge from one or two of the bigger figures in the Comicsgate group, you can go from being 20% funded to being 120% funded in just a couple of days. And it's because these people are out there ready to support these independent creators if they have something that they want.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of easy considering how much the big two have just starved people for good stories.
Absolutely.
I think we went. I think we did. We had one of the episodes Deantay and I did a while back. I think that one ended up lost because I was a dumbass and ended up deleting about a month's worth of my videos by accident. There was one where we went over the Batman Catwoman wedding, and just how them pulling the rug out. That's just them being a total cock tease, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of thought that was. I kind of expected that to happen, to be honest.
I suppose so, but it's just they were hyping this thing up.
Well, of course they were. Absolutely. And why wouldn't they? It sells books.
True.
And honestly, anybody that thought that Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle were going to get married and settle down was delusional. They could do it in an alternate universe or another reality type of a thing, but what they did with that issue is absolutely correct. Yeah. Bruce Wayne needs the pain to be Batman. You take the pain away, you take Batman away.
I don't know, I don't think that was the conclusion we came to, Deantay. He could still be Batman when he had Dick or Tim with him, and they were sort of the. Sure, they didn't take the pain away completely, but at least they sort of showed him he didn't have to do this alone.
Oh, sure, but Selina gave him the possibility of being happy.
Yeah.
And that's counter to what Batman has been for forever. Batman has always been the tortured soul. Batman has always used his sadness or his misery to fuel his desire to go after these bad guys that do wrongs in the world. And even as I read the lead up to it, I'm like, no, there's no, as much as my idyllic self wanted Bruce and Selena to be together forever, I knew that they couldn't do it. They couldn't, because all they were, if they got married and they got together, all they were looking at was probably the most awful, terrible marriage they could possibly put in a comic book, because Bruce and Selena's professional lives are the antithesis of each other.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think, you know what? I did not think I'd see someone who actually would make a case for them not pulling the trigger, and it actually would make sense.
Yeah, it was a good case.
Wow. I mean, good on you, Jim. You actually got me to reconsider everything.
It just doesn't work for those two to be married. Let's look at it this way: Bruce and Selena could be married, okay? Batman and Catwoman can't.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and the source of Batman's power, I guess you could say, has always been his pain, has always been the murder of his parents. And we got the one when Booster Gold did the little time travel thing showing what would happen if Bruce's parents didn't die. Well, Bruce was happy because his parents were still around, but Gotham was trashed and Bruce didn't care. So even when I saw that, I was like, okay, we can't have a happy Bruce Wayne. He can't ever be 100% happy. He's got to always have that misery. And even though what we saw at the very end of issue 50 being what looks like, or I have yet to read 51 and 52 yet. So what looks like Bane actually being the one to control this and to nudge Selena away, it's what we needed to keep Batman. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that just makes sense.
And now we will go back to stories.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
now we will go back to stories with the bat chasing the cat again.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, now considering that Marvel decided to hitch Gambit and Rogue, like, how long is that gonna last?
I can actually see Gambit and Rogue being together for a long time. Because Gambit,
well, he's not. I mean, he acts like he's a ladies' man, but he's not.
Rogue is the broken one, okay, and Gambit is the one that gives her peace in her own mind. And you're right, Rogue plays himself as a ladies' man, but he is really a traditional man at heart.
Yeah.
Once he picks one person, that's it. Yeah, so I see them sticking around for a long time together, unless something happens, and we know it will.
You know, because it always does.
Well, it has to. It has to. You look at it, same thing in television. As soon as as soon as the romantic tension goes away, the series dies. So you have the same thing in comic books. You need the romantic tension for people to be hooked on the story.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of true to a point. I mean, like, still something to. I guess if there's anything else to talk about, like, aside from, I guess, going back to Blue Mamba. But I mean, besides, like, your own obviously you're kind of drawing on from your own experiences in the military, I assume, correct?
Actually, no.
Really?
The only tie to the military in Blue Mamba is Clarissa's background.
Oh, so, like, okay, then
this for me is 100% fiction. It's yeah, I mean I'll draw influences from movies I've seen.
Oh, so that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Like, what exactly's been influencing Blue Mamba? Like, what's in its DNA?
Jason Bourne and Atomic Blonde.
Ah.
So if you take a little bit of the Jason Bourne series, the good one's not the Jeremy Renner one, and shake in some Atomic Blonde, and to give it a comic book reference, if you take a little bit of Black Widow in there as well, that's what you get for Clarissa.
Interesting.
We got the political intrigue that you get from the Jason Bourne series. You get the capable, and I don't say strong, you get the capable female spy character from Atomic Blonde, and you get the sexy sultriness of Black Widow.
That last one's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And Clarissa uses that to her advantage because she knows it works.
Oh, but okay, without getting too graphic, like how far is she willing to go? Oh,
How far is she willing to go for?
like if she knows, like if Clarissa knows she's attractive and she uses it. Like,
Oh, she'll take you to bed.
Let me just put it this way: is she gonna be the type to lead a guy on and then just to drop, and then just to pull the rug out from under him? Because I know you said she's a lesbian.
She would be the type to lead a guy on and then put a screwdriver through his head. Yes.
Okay, that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So she will go so far as to actually take someone to bed if that's what it takes to set up the target.
Yeah, cannot knock her for commitment.
No.
Like I said, she likes her job. She knows how to do it. She knows how to use the resources she has at hand, and one of her resources is her sex appeal.
I think it kind of reminds me of like this one Garth Ennis book he published for DC called Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see where I'm going with this. I don't remember where in the series this happened. It was when Tommy was. I think it's this one graphic novel where Tommy meets the Justice League and helps them deal with a problem. And and I think one of them, I can't remember if it was Green Lantern or Flash. One of them asked him, "You've got the ability, you've got X-ray vision and telepathy, and yet you're a contract killer. And not only that, you live in a dump of an apartment. You're constantly living from job to job. You could be doing so much more. Why do you do this?" And Tommy just simply replies with, "I wasn't good at anything else."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Except Clarissa's not cheap.
yeah, like Hitman's a great book. Very underrated Garth Ennis. Ennis book. If no one's picked that up yet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a significant difference between someone who kills people for $10,000 and someone who kills them for $100,000.
Well, because the thing with Hitman, like Tommy was just taking whatever odd jobs people wanted. Like he said he was like a hitman for superpowered beings, but most of it, like I think he was dealing with like gun-toting demons, dinosaurs that have been somehow been plucked out of the past, and like the book could get kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's Garth Ennis for you.
I don't get into any of that supernatural stuff. This is Blue Mamba is strictly political intrigue, spy assassin type shit.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got. Like you're not gonna have like you're not gonna have mutants or vampires or shit like that. This is just like it's a spy thriller, straight up.
Yeah, but I am kicking around the idea of a little bit of superpower ability.
Oh, are we, Deantay? I think we might be seeing some Metal Gear Solid in this thing.
Think along the lines of a Jessica Jones ability.
Okay. No, that's
You know, I'm pretty sure someone on Metal Gear Solid has those abilities.
It's called nano machines.
Yeah, the idea that I've kicked around is the biggest flaw I see with superheroes is their god status. So what could the the average person deal with as far as having some sort of superhuman ability? And there are limits to that. You know, there's only so much that the human body can take before it breaks itself. And I'm kicking around the idea of having Clarissa inherit some abilities, some minor abilities, and introducing into the story what or how she deals with that, how she keeps it hidden from people, and how she decides to use it to her advantage.
Interesting. That's that. And you said like is this gonna be like those sort of Jessica Jones types, like just sort of super strength, some slight indestructibility?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
That's keeping it simple. Yeah.
A little bit of healing factor.
Oh.
You know, something that could be a little bit more plausible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not like Luke Cage. Like dude gets whacked with a baseball bat and it just breaks on his head.
No, not like that. Did you familiar with the Painkiller Jane series from Jimmy Palmiotti?
Of it. I think there was also a TV show for that.
Yeah, there was. Kind of along the lines of that as far as healing factor. So she would be able to take a hit, but she's not, instant heal. She's not like a Wolverine instant heal. More of a okay, I can fight through the pain to get through this fight, and it's going to take me a day or so to recover.
I guess what I'm sort of seeing in my head is like she gets a slight cut. It would take her out like what, a few hours to heal.
Let's say someone stabbed her. Okay, got her in the liver. It's going to knock her down to the ground because the pain is excruciating. And that's probably going to take her the better part of a couple days to heal from. At least from the inside out. The bleeding would stop pretty quick, but the rest of the healing is going to take time.
So, but yeah, she's got a little bit more limitation on this than say Wolverine would, because like Wolverine, the dude could just walk through a hail of gunfire and still be okay.
Right.
Like even like if Clarissa does that, not even she's gonna survive it.
Probably not. But I don't know if that's going to happen just yet. Don't know.
Fair enough.
But all I can say is like, don't go for the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid ending unless the book warrants it.
Oh yeah. No, I think somewhere around issue 4. There's a issue 4. There's a big shootout And that's where I'm thinking about if she has her powers, that's where she's going to figure them out.
And this is like where, and that's like kind of more or less where we really see like the limits of what it can do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, you know, Deantay, I think I'd be totally down for putting down money on this. This actually sounds cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just the artwork alone. I mean, just the artwork alone. Ale Garza did such a great job on the art for this.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, like did like, is this someone who's got experience? You working with someone who's experienced in the business, or like, because like Brian and Trent, they like, from what to hear them tell it, they just dug their guy up out of the Philippines somehow and got lucky.
Well, and that happens. But Ale has been around for a long time. Let's see.
Yeah, I noticed that it was like way too good to just be just anyone. Like, this is someone with experience.
So let's see. Started at 18, working for Wildstorm. Then moved on to titles like Gen 13, Zero, Batgirl, Titans, and Young Justice. And then he's done various titles for DC and Marvel. And I think he just got put back onto a miniseries for Marvel.
Yeah,
I'm not going to have him for a little while.
Oh man, that's just a bummer. But I mean, like,
for a few months. I'm not going to be able to reach him for a few months.
That is a major bummer. But still, I mean, like, it's just that's amazing that you managed to dig up someone with that kind of experience.
Well, it was more a fluke, really. I went to DeviantArt, put out an open call for artists, got about 40 responses back. Out of those 40, I picked 5 that had art that I liked. Out of those 5 gave me out of those 5, 3 gave me character concepts. Out of those 3, none of them responded when I said I wanted to hire them. So I sent out emails to creators that I liked their work and said, hey, if you know anybody that's looking for work, let me know. And Ollie wrote back and said, hey, I'm looking for work. So I hired him right away.
Nice.
Yeah, that is definitely lucky.
Oh yeah. I certainly paid for the privilege of having him on the books. So yeah. We'll just say he's not as cheap as some of those guys from the Philippines.
Probably not. I mean, like, mine is asking for $100 a page.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, a guy with that. But yeah, I'm just saying, a guy with that kind of background, yeah, you'd be surprised if he'd be willing to work cheap.
And that was fine. You know, when I realized that the first round of artists that I picked were going to be that way, I decided, forget it. I'm going to go all out on this. I'm going to get the best artists that I can afford. And if nothing else, people will buy the book for the art.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, the art alone just seems like it's a good enough selling point. I mean, just, it looks so professional.
Well, and then the variant covers that we've got for this, the artists that I picked up for variant covers. You've seen the Atomic Blonde homage cover that Sora Sung did.
I think I might have. Well, let me. Am I gonna find that on Twitter?
On my Twitter, yeah.
Let's see. Is this the one where she's got that white trench coat?
Yes.
Yep.
So that's an homage to the Atomic Blonde poster and
Let me link this to
Blu-ray
you,
cover.
Deantay.
What's that?
I'm gonna link this to Deantay so you can get a look.
Oh, that's fine.
Sweet.
And Sora is a fabulous cover artist. and she's done significant amount of work for Lady Death. Has been some of her more recent work. Then we've got Marat Michaels, who's most recently known.
Brett Michaels.
What's that?
Did you say Brett Michaels?
No, Marat Michaels.
Because like I'm just wondering, wait, the guy from the lead singer from Poison does comic
Nope.
art on the side too.
No. I got Marat Michaels, who's most recently known for his Deadpool covers. And he did a fabulous Clarissa nude sitting in front of the window type of a cover. Mike DeBalfo, who is also another brilliant cover and pinup artist, did a cover of Echo, the supporting character for my book. And I swear, every time I look at that, I just fall in love with the character all over again. And then I got Jen Broomall to do a variant cover, and Jen does fabulous pinup art. She's also done a lot of cover work as well. And she decided to focus on the relationship between Clarissa and Echo. Taking the she's like, okay, well, great, this is a murder book, but I want to show this warmth of the relationship between the two characters in the book that is an important factor throughout the whole series. And she did great with that.
That's good. That is... Yeah, that's amazing that you actually get to work with people like that.
A lot of networking. A lot of networking.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But it's just like working with actual pros. I mean, that's gotta be something that can help carry some weight for the book. Like, this book has actual pros behind it.
Well, yeah, and people that know the industry or know the history of the industry will look at this and go, okay, well, I've seen Ale Garza's name around. And people that like his art will look at this and recognize it right away. And people who like Mike DeBalfo, Marat Michaels, Jen Broomall, Sora Sung will pick this up because of the artwork on the cover. And hopefully open it up and read the story at the same time. Which is why all of my tiers, every pledge tier that I've got for the Kickstarter, if you ordered a variant, you got the standard cover as well. So you got 2 books with the variant cover tiers. Because if you're, I thought about this like I would want to collect. If I'm buying the Mike DeBalfo variant, I don't want to touch that book. I want to read it, so I'm going to grab the standard cover and read that book. But I want to take that Mike DeBalfo cover, get it signed, get it graded, and never open it.
In other words, keep it in the shrink wrap.
Yep. Yeah. Because the art is at that point you're getting it for the art, and so you still got
wrap and hang it on your wall.
Yeah. And so because you get 2 books at that price, you still have the one that you can crack open and read and not stress about hurting the pages.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And just so now the Mike just refresh my memory, which one was the Mike DeBalfo one?
Mike DeBalfo did the cover. Where'd it go? He did the Echo cover. So it's her sitting on this kind of chair looking thing in front of a tree. I've got the Kickstarter pulled up in front of me. So the art, all of the variant cover art is on the Kickstarter.
Let me look that up, please.
Do you have the link?
Let me see. Link is on. Yep, we got the link. Pulling it up right now. I'll link it to Deantay too.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. You said all the artwork is
all the cover art is in there. All the variant covers are down toward the bottom, and Oleg Garza's main cover is about 1/3 of the way down.
Yeah, I see. I think I found this. I think I found the one. This is the Mike DeBoffel one. This one's like it's just. This one looks like it's just penciled so far. And there's
Pencils
like,
right now. Yeah, it's being colored right now. Actually, it's with the colorist Hedwin Zaldivar is the colorist for the Mike DeBoffo cover, and it's being worked on right now. So. And that one, I'm actually pulling. I'm actually pulling two. I'm actually pulling two covers out of that Mike DeBoffo artwork. We're gonna design a Kickstarter exclusive using that same art.
Yeah, I should probably mention this, guys. Yeah, Blue Mamba, mature readers, not for kids.
Yeah, the standard version is adults only. There is a PG-13 version available. Yeah.
Just kind of like Rags, because like you had one version where Regina's got rabbits covering her tits, and another way no rabbits. Although I'll be honest, I actually kind of like it with the rabbits because that sort of gives it a little identity. I mean, come on, can anyone name another comic book where you have a half-naked red-headed chick that has bunnies covering her tits?
No. Not off the top of my head.
Exactly. Exactly. You can't. So nothing else looks like it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just going by some of these variant covers, seeing stuff that looks like what's the name of that? What's the name of that one company that publishes all those all those fairy tales that are sexed up and shit? There's a lot of cheesecake covers on them, I think. I cannot remember the number of the company though.
Oh shoot, I know who you're talking about, and I've got their books around here somewhere.
Yeah, that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Which, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. It's just like that's just what it reminds me of, is all.
Is it Cinescope?
Sunscope, that's the one. Sunscope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, they have
that Marat Michaels cover. That Marat Michaels cover does look like something that Zenoscope would do.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Which again, that's not a bad thing.
Yep.
That's not. It's just that thing. It's just like, hey, you gotta, we've been going on for like over an hour so far.
We have.
You got. Jim, if you've got anything to people who want to get into this, like, have you got any words of wisdom?
Be prepared to fail. Go into this reaching for success every moment you do it, but always have a plan for what happens if you don't make it. And always be striving to put out the best product you possibly can and put it into their hands, put it into the customer's hands. Any way that you possibly can do it, get it into their hands. Because once people have a tangible product that they can see, they will come back for more.
Good advice.
I absolutely know in my heart that if number one is made and people get it in their hands, they will want number two. They will want number three, because this story just gets better and better as it goes.
Oh, I should hope so. So like how, like if you don't want to there's still 9 days left on the Kickstarter. Like, what's the minimum anyone can put down for this?
You can pledge anything without getting a reward, but if you want one of the reward levels, the minimum, I do have a digital version available, and it's a $7 pledge. It's just, you know, all the digital pages with the Ali Gaza cover, and you can get the standard adult version or the PG-13 version. But you can go all the way up to $90, $90 pledge to get all the variants except for the Kickstarter exclusive. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books for $90. So.
Oh yeah, pledge $90 or more, you get the standard plus all variants. Only 100.
Right, except for the Kickstarter.
And there's only 100 spots available for it.
Yep.
Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna include the link into this on the description so people can go check that out. Yeah, guys, seriously, go toss Jim some shekels. He could use it. Yeah. You got anything else you want to plug before we call it good, Jim?
No, that's it.
All right. So I guess all they need is the Kickstarter done. Like nothing on. Just the Kickstarter. Although I would tell people if you feel inclined, you should follow all the Blue Mamba Twitter, or just so you can stay in the loop. I would do that, but yes, but if nothing else, just at least click on the link. It's in the description now, guys. Click on that link. Put down at least $7.
Help us get it made.
Yeah.
We reach the funding goal. We get the book into all the supporters' hands, and possibly more.
Yeah.
As long as we reach the funding goal, we'll be able to get this book printed out to the supporters, and it'll be with me and probably some of my artists at conventions as well.
And it goes without saying that all who support will get what they paid for, and anywhere in the world, it'll ship anywhere in the world.
Yeah, this book is basically done. I'm just waiting on the last couple pages of colors, and then it goes to the letterer, and that's it.
So yeah, so let's just say Deantay puts down $7, and it's gonna get shipped out down to New Zealand.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, the digital version is really easy to ship, so.
Yeah. Although I mean, I've had experience with shipping physical stuff to New Zealand before. Those import fees will eat you.
I can't be responsible for import fees, and I'm sorry about that. And I have bought comics from guys out of Australia, and holy crap, the shipping is expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet it is. Just that. So yeah, guys. I mean, So yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll just.
All right.
So yeah, thanks for showing up, guys, and yeah, head out down to the Blue Mamba Kickstarter, put down some cash. You're probably not gonna regret it.
Oh, you won't. I promise.
All right.
Thanks.
And we will.